Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another small fighter, and this one is called the V207 Interplanetary Fighter, which is this lovely thing right here. So this is a small ship featuring both Gatling and rocket launchers, as well as all three types of thrusters, so we are good for pretty much everywhere. We've got a projector system on here so we can repair ourselves up if needed, and we got all the necessities to make sure we can survive while out in space. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, there's a lot of interplanetary ships to go through here. There it is. This thing says it's 1,374 small blocks. I'll just give that a thumbs up and spawn this in because we do have a projector block on here, though it will probably be a little bit smaller. And there we go, it's 1,374 blocks, which is exactly what it said on the Steam Workshop page, so it's not factoring in the projector. So what we're going to do is have a quick look around the outside, then we'll fly it around for a bit and maybe spawn in the good old Albatross and shoot it up for a bit. Yes, at the very front here, this is what we get. We've got ourselves our fighter cockpit, surrounded by some steel blocks to make sure we're nice and protected. Just below that and to the above on the left and the right hand side, we've got ourselves some Gatling guns to blast our enemies with. If we move to the left and the right of that, we can see some ion thrusters to help us while we're in space, as well as coming down to here, we can see even more Gatling guns, as well as some blue blocks. If we were to come up and start to move around the side over to here, we'll see the start of a few rocket launchers to make sure we can blast a big hole in our enemy ships, as well as a small spotlight which has been half covered up with some digital camouflage blocks right next to it. And this is of course coming across on our wing, which has been angled all the way down via slope blocks that just come all the way around over to here, and it houses our hydrogen thrusters. So there's some hydrogen thrusters right there. If I was to dip down under the here, we've got ourselves our traditional red and green light blocks, which thanks to you guys, you pointed out, because I didn't actually know this, is it signals the left and right of the ship to ground control and other ships around you. Yes, that is our wing, and it's got our hydrogen thrusters on there. It just comes all the way down to there, and it does look rather fancy. If we come to the very back of the wing, this is what we get. Not too much is going on there, but we can see the bottoms of our hydrogen thrusters to help us take off from a station or a planet. And then moving all the way around to the very back here, this is what we get. We've got two large ion thrusters, one large hydrogen thrusters, and four small hydrogen thrusters to push us around, and this should give us some great speeds wherever we are. We can see once again our blue blocks making a return for some additional decoration, and we've got some dark grey blocks along with our standard grey blocks. If we come up and above here, we've got some fins at the very back there just made out of our steel blocks. Then moving towards the front there, there's some more blue blocks, and we can see some more hydrogen and ion thrusters, as well as the tops of our Gatling guns. If we continue along to the front and just tilt around like so, we can see how the guns have been connected up, and we can see a few more hydrogen thrusters to help us stop. Dropping down and coming all the way underneath here, past our cockpit, past the Gatling gun, and down to here, putting my light back on, we've got even more ion thrusters. We can see some atmospheric thrusters, and of course our hydrogen thrusters we saw earlier along the digital camouflage strip. And of course over to here, we then got ourselves a connector to recharge and dock on. If I zoom all the way out, we can then see the bottoms of our wings. Turning my light off, you'll be able to see the green light on the opposite side. And then all the way over to here, we've got ourselves another atmospheric thruster, just sneakily inside there. And that just about covers the outside of this ship, and it does look fantastic for how simple it's been set up. Nothing too complicated here, nothing too hard to build once you're in space, once you've got access to asteroids, and it does look rather fancy when you're flying it around in combat. But with that all done and out of the way, I can press F6 and get into my character, and bring up the HUD. So this is what we get with our ship. Number one is going to be for our Gatling guns straight forwards, where we'll fire the three below our cockpit, and the two above it. Number two is going to be for our rocket launchers to shoot all four of them at once. Of course, if you want to be fancy, you can add a programmable block to this ship and put them on the salvo script so they fire on a pattern. Number three is for our connector on and off at the bottom right there, and number four is for our projector block in case we need to repair our ship. Number 5 is for our batteries to auto or recharge. Number 6 is for our O2H2 generators to toggle them on and off. And number 7 is for our hydrogen tanks to stockpile on and off. Number 8 and number 9 is for our thrusters all the way around this ship. So number 8 is going to be to shut off our hydrogen thrusters at the front and on the sides, top and bottom, but not at the back. So if I shut them off, our hydrogen thrusters will switch off, but the large one at the back will still remain active. This is so we can save on our hydrogen and just rely a little bit more on our iron while in space. And then we can press 8 to switch them back on, which will be a lot better and more controllable. Number 9 is going to be for our atmospheric thrusters, where we can switch them on and off, which will simply mean we'll turn off our large hydrogen thrusters, which won't be needed on a planet. And we can switch down to here, where we still got our hydrogen below us, and our atmospheric thrusters will switch on. On tab number 2, we then got a empty block, which I'm not too sure what it is, but we've got our beacon on and off for number 2, and we got our vent on and off on number 3. With that done, we can do a quick little thruster test, then I'll spawn in the Albatross, and we'll shoot it up. So going forwards with everything switched on, this is what we get. We've got a nice lot of speed for this size of ship. Doesn't take too long to reach 100 meters per second, and stopping is equally as good. Of course, you can always do a 180 if you're not too happy, or you could always strap on some more thrusters if you really must. Going left, and going right, we've got some nice speed there. And then going down, and then going up. We've got some nice speed like that. Going up feels a lot more faster than going down, but that is quite normal for a lot of ships. Wiggling my mouse around, this is what we get. We've got a nice lot of control over here. It's not too floaty, there is a little bit of weight on here, so it is a bit chunky, and we can, if we're not too happy with it, just go and play around with our gyroscopes. We've got quite a few on here, but we can turn this down if we're not too happy, and it becomes a bit more responsive and a bit more meaty. With that all done, we can just come to a complete stop, and I'll spawn in the Albatross, and we can just shoot it up for a bit, and then just go and crash this straight into it. And here we go, it's just popped in, and we can start blasting it with our rockets. We're not going to be doing too much damage compared to a few ships I've showcased, because we've only got 4 rocket launchers on this thing, but our Gatling guns should be equally as good. Now, if I want to be really mean, I can always give the Albatross to these space pirates, and we can see how long this ship can last, but I don't think that's going to be very fair, considering how many guns are actually on this thing. Look how many are on here. Yes, we can just find an access point somewhere. I think I've disconnected a lot of the easy access points. So we just come up to this doorway right here. And let's just go and transfer absolutely everything to the space pirates. And, well, we can just listen to the ship get torn to pieces. And, well, there's the ship getting torn to pieces. It's lasting quite a long time. There's a lot of fancy particle effects coming off there. But it looks like the turrets have done their jobs. I can come over to here and make myself untargetable, which will make it a bit more easy to come and see what's going on. It looks like they just ripped away the internals. Cockpit is gone, the guns are gone. Can we salvage this? No, we cannot. But we can always just go and grind away maybe that iron thruster right there, this hydrogen thruster, and try and rebuild a small ship in an emergency. This is not going to last too long versus the Albatross. Okay, so here we go. We just started the combat straight away, just got into it. We're being torn to shreds. We're actually doing surprisingly well for a small ship against a heavily armed large ship. Our batteries are dead, our thrusters are dead, there goes the cockpit. But that was surprisingly a long time before that got destroyed. Yes, that is kind of a pointless test. We're just going to remove that and remove it from existence and spawn in a new one. And yes, back to where I was before things got a bit silly. We can now just shoot this up with our Gatling guns, start tearing away the blocks. And yes, it's a nice little ship to play around with. So to finish off this video, we're just going to ram ourselves straight into there and see what kind of damage we can do. And as per usual, there'll be a link to this ship in the description below, along with a link to the Skybox in case you're interested. So here we go, straight into that. And we have torn a nice hole into the front of it. We've sort of lost the edge of our right wing. I think that's the right wing. Yeah, that's the right wing. And yes, we can just still, I think, easily put a cockpit on here and just fly it away. Yes, we can. How about that? So if you lost your cockpit in combat, you can just slap one on top and you'll be perfectly fine. But yes, that's enough of me messing around. Like I said, there'll be a link to it in the description below. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.